Since its release in 1999 on the PlayStation, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater has spawned over 10 sequels. They've ranged from new sets of maps with incremental gameplay improvements, to open-world ventures, to peripheral-fueled nightmares. Tony Hawk games have seen the inclusion of creative trick modes, the ability to get off your board, and Bam Margera. As the series soldiered on, it gradually lost relevance and there was a general dip in quality. Add to that the rise of EA's Skate series' more realistic take on skateboarding, and Tony Hawk Ride's unpleasant skateboard peripheral, and Tony Hawk's once great series was looking pretty played out. Now we've come full circle and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD is upon us as a downloadable $15 title for Xbox 360. Is this trip back to the beginning worth your time, or is it too little too late? Calling this game's features bare bones wouldn't be fair, but it certainly doesn't feature as many modes of distractions as its skating peers. There are 11 characters to choose from, including a couple that need to be unlocked. You can also play using your Xbox avatar, giving an already cartoony skateboarding game an even sillier feel. Single and multiplayer each offer a few different ways to play. In single player, there's the classic time mode that gives you 2 minutes to complete a set of objectives, a score attack mode, free skate, and other unlockable modes like Big Head Survival and Hawkman. Big Head Survival is a personal favorite. You're tasked with achieving higher and higher scores to deflate your skater's head as it inflates at a gradually more accelerated rate. If you can't keep up, your head's gonna pop and confetti goes anywhere. It's pretty fantastic. Clearing a set number of objectives in one map will unlock the next for a total of 7 maps that have been pulled from the first and second Tony Hawk games. Multiplayer offers score attack, Big Head Survival, and graffiti. There's no story to speak of, and the levels do have a sort of barren, lonely feel to them, at least in single player. The design is sharply focused to let you pull off tricks and find collectibles with little to no distractions. Tony Hawk's HUD features a clean and uncluttered look that tends to put function over flash. Manual and grind balance meters pop up when necessary. Another meter lets you see when you can pull off special moves, and current objectives are listed in a concise though somewhat obscure manner. This is the same streamlined game you remember, with no unnecessary game-breaking changes. Grunts, Grinds, Scrapes, and Ska. 14 songs ranging from ska and punk to hip-hop and heavy metal will accompany you as you ollie, grab, and grind your way through Tony Hawk HD's classic maps. Hearing Goldfinger's Superman brought back fond memories of playing the original game and trying desperately to best my friend's scores. Hearing Powerman 5000's When Worlds Collide made me want to smash my speakers. There aren't any songs here that I would call classics or even great, but their high energy of sometimes repetitive nature fits perfectly with this skateboarding throwback. Also, I'm the bomb and I'm about to blow up. The sounds of wheels rolling across concrete, brick, metal, and grass sound crisp and appropriate. Grind sounds satisfyingly abrasive, and injured skaters grunt like they've just been injured. There's nothing amazing going on here, but nothing seems out of place. Just as with the game's focused presentation, what's here serves just to let you enjoy playing and maybe offer a few notes of nostalgia. This game looks the way I remember the first few Tony Hawks feeling. To put that in perspective, take a peek at some horrifically dated screenshots from the first few games, and you might find yourself wondering how anyone ever thought they looked good. At the time, though, they were state-of-the-art. Tony Hawk HD, while not being a graphical powerhouse, has some nice visuals that update the original maps while retaining their original feel. Levels are still fairly simple, with a lot of hard edges and perhaps too much empty space. All the texture work has been redone, and the skater models are definitely more detailed than they were, but it all has an appropriately retro feel. Better lighting effects and shadows are featured, and an improved physics engine shows off some destructive moments, like knocking over barrels or smashing boxes. Character animations are mostly fluid and get the job done. The only noticeable exceptions being ragdoll bails that can sometimes leave your skater stuck in a wall or careening toward the stratosphere. If you happen to roll down a staircase, the jerky transition from step to step is particularly jarring, but then maybe that's appropriate. There were a few times where I found my avatar grinding the underside of a rail or sliding upward through the surface of a wall. These almost never affected gameplay, but they did look off. Overall, this game looks good, but it's not going to win any graphic awards. It is, as advertised, an older game, now presented in high definition. For people who have been playing this series since the beginning, I think it's important to note that this is not Tony Hawk 1. This game prominently features manuals, the two-wheel ground tricks that link moves into larger combos, and they weren't introduced until Pro Skater 2. I personally love manuals and how I can use them to create insane combos, but purists may feel that levels like the Warehouse Mall and Downhill Jam are just not the same when you factor in the ability to link moves with something other than grinds. Admittedly, it does feel like the scoring in Tony Hawk HD has been set up in a way that requires manuals to get 6 scores on some of these maps. Activision has noted the revert will only link combos in upcoming Tony Hawk 3 maps due to the previous 2 games' maps being designed before such a move existed. Knowing this very cool detail makes it seem even stranger that I can manual in Tony Hawk 1's first level. That aside, what is here is gameplay that very closely resembles the first 2 classic games in the series and brings back a lot of good memories. Linking together ludicrous numbers of tricks feels as good as ever. Unlike the more sim-oriented Skate series, you can gain momentum on flat ground simply by standing. It's still possible to ride up a quarter pipe, curve around a transition in the air, then come back to Earth like a triumphant skate wizard. The grind and manual meters from Pro Skater 2 are here to help you stay on your deck, and you can still jump sideways at a rail and end up in a momentum-defying grind. It is, in a word, fun. Utilizing special transfers, grinds, manuals, special moves, and generally finding good lines are all key to getting the highest possible scores, but anyone can jump in and enjoy what's on offer here. Having played a lot of EA Skate 1 through 3, I found playing this game empowering, and its arcade style feels fresh somehow without necessarily skimping on challenge. If you never liked Tony Hawk games before, this isn't the one to change your mind, but if you enjoy playing games in goofy stance, there's still plenty here to love. All of Tony Hawk HD's maps can be unlocked in an hour or 2, depending on your skill level. For $15 you could certainly do worse, but this game's design naturally leads to repetition. You can come up with a couple great combos and use them to steamroll your way to the end, but then that's not what these games have ever been about. If you care about your spot on the leaderboards, enjoy the back and forth and graffiti, or just like going zen in free skate and relaxing as your skater does all manner of aerial craziness, this might be for you.